Hey everybody, how is it going? It is another week, another wonderful week, all sorts of craziness, but not in a bad way. I'm talking about the positive craziness of Bitcoin. And we're back for another stream. This is the Good Bit stream. And we're going to talk about all the positive things that's happening in the world of Bitcoin. Those of you that don't know, my name is Taj. How are you doing? It is absolutely wonderful to be hanging out with you, also known as Tropic, hanging out with you on this wonderful, wonderful Saturday. Like I said, a lot is going on in the world, but what we're going to focus on is the positive things that's happening in the world of Bitcoin. And we have some amazing stories to highlight today. So those of you that are not familiar with the stream, the Good Bit stream, we highlight all the amazing positive things that are happening within the ecosystem of Bitcoin. So we talk about circular economies. We talk about just good, feel good things that are happening. And also the amazing tech that is spreading adoption worldwide. So that's what we like to focus on, not so much the price, the charts, and all that stuff. If you want that stuff, there's streams for that. We cover all of that, everything related to Bitcoin on here. Wolf Bitcoin, we have a show for you, but this one in particular is going to cover all those things. So in particular, what we're going to dive into first and foremost is the fact that, well, first and foremost, I'm going to say, hey, what's up? How you doing, my friend? Thank you for joining the stream. I am doing great. Hopefully you're doing great too as well. But what I wanted to say, my friend Redman and everybody else that is tuning into the stream, we are going to look at some things that's happening in Kenya. Now, if you looked at the title, you would have seen that people are being paid Bitcoin for trash. Now, that's pretty amazing to me. And I think it's definitely worth highlighting. So let's go to the story right here. So we're going to go to Africa, which is this circular economy community that is highlighting all the amazing things that's happening in this particular region within Kenya. And Africa has some amazing things that we like to highlight all the times on the show, because a lot of this adoption, circular economy clubs and so forth is going on in not just South America, but also Africa. And we like to highlight both. But this particular project right here, this community, there's two things that I want to highlight in relation to what they're doing. So not only is there this right here, this waste initiative, right? So the men are going around, they're picking up garbage, and they're being paid sats to actually do that. Now, why you might be wondering, are people doing that? There's a two goal, I guess you would say, mission here. Number one, civic engagement and just pride in your local ability to keep your communities nice and clean and engaging in a way that positively impacts you, but then also onboarding people onto Bitcoin. So you're doing this work, you're being paid sats, but then what it does is it sparks the circular economy, which we like to highlight, of course, all of the people that are local merchants and so on, and they're keeping those funds within the community. They're supporting one another, and all sorts of clubs all across Africa, like I said, South America, Latin America, that have various websites just like this. This is a really great website, very interactive. I personally liked it, just scrolling around it. All the amazing things that they're doing, highlighting their initiatives and so forth. But there's 4 active groups that are collecting trash, and they are collecting, oops, excuse me, jumped a little bit there, 2.5 tons collected monthly. So there is a lot of active participants, the 30, and so they're doing a lot of things in here. But again, like I said, not just civic engagement, pride, cleaning up their community and doing some cool things in that regard. But then once they're paid these sats, they turn around and they support their local merchants, their local economy. And it's just really cool. Some interesting things that's happening. They're picking up plastic, metals, paper, glass. They're getting this out of the streets. They're getting this out of wherever it would normally go. And they're finding a productive way to engage the community and get people involved. Now, these are mostly the men that are doing the physical labor, picking up this stuff. And what ended up happening is the women wanted to get involved. And a lot of this is physical labor, of course, picking up trash and so on. But another initiative that they also came up with, women upcycling, their things. Now, I wasn't familiar with this term, upcycling. Like, what are you talking about? So what they're doing actually is they're taking old garments, old plastics, and old materials and so on, and they're actually getting ready to use it for productive purposes. So they're recycling it, if you will, upcycling it, and then they're adding value into it, and then they're putting that back into the economy. So right here, we have 7 women currently training. And the other thing, too, that's really interesting with that, not only are they cleaning up their communities, getting rid of waste and then producing something productive, but they're learning valuable skills in the process too as well. So a lot of these ladies, whether or not they were craft makers, they made garments and so on, as they bring in new women, they're also training them with skills. So quite a few things is happening here, engaging them into civic engagement, cleaning up their community, also sparking that entrepreneurial spirit, if you will, but then training them to have new skills. So 150 plus products have been created, 500 kgs of waste has been diverted. So things that would have ended up in the landfill are now being used in garments and other things such as decorations and so on. And it's just really cool because it's sparking that whole circular economy. So once people come into this whole process, they start to learn about what's going on here. Of course, they want work, they want to clean up their communities, they're looking for opportunities to increase their skills and so on. But then they're being paid in sats. So now they're being introduced to what's going on in this whole world. And what makes this very interesting is once they're a Bitcoiner, once they start stacking sats, they get into that. The next question obviously is, well, where can I spend this? Right. So that's how they end up seeking out their local merchants and so on. And many times I've highlighted on the show the Tondo wallet, which is the specific wallet for Kenya, which is built on the technology, if you will, that the Blink wallet from El Salvador and so on, very similar technology using Lightning to allow these microtransactions. So where on the main network, it might not make sense to buy a cup of coffee with Bitcoin or a meal or something very small, right? On Lightning, you can do that because the transactions are so fast and so cheap, basically free, that basically you can spend it on whatever amount, whether it's $1 million, which the record the other day was set, $1 million was sent in one transaction on Bitcoin using Lightning, or you're just buying some small trivial item, you can use Lightning for that. So anyways, people are getting into the whole ecosystem. They're creating value within their local communities. And I think that is just very cool, worth highlighting, whether it's tote bags, the clothing, home decor, the accessories and gifts that are being created out of what would have ended up in the landfill, or what a lot of people don't actually know in certain areas where there's not even garbage collection. What a lot of locals tend to do in rural communities, especially, is just heap everything up and then they burn it. So, of course, certain items such as the glass and the tin items or aluminum cans, depending where you are in the world, you might call it tin. Where I am in Jamaica, we say tin. But like what ends up happening is that stuff does not burn down. So what ends up is those things are then compressed down in local piles and so forth. And it could be a hazard. Children running around, they could get cut and so on. But anyways, what I think is just really cool with this, again, engaging local communities, both men and women, clean up their communities, get involved, get some sats. And then, of course, the next logical question is, where can I spend this? So really cool to highlight that. Really appreciate everything that's going on. I really recommend just check out this website, which again, I think is a very beautiful website, just the way it is, very interactive. See all the different programs, the education that's happening within their communities. They have merchants. You can look up the directory again. Once you get your sats, where are you going to spend it? Well, guess what? You can go buy food. You can do whatever it is, find the local businesses. And this is just really cool stuff that's happening there. So really proud and excited to highlight that. So congratulations, that crew over there in Kenya, doing some amazing things. Now let's go a little bit more local to the US. So a community in Tampa, which actually is supposedly the oldest running, active, longest running, I should say, meetup in the States. A while back, a couple years ago, they won in a contest to like a whole bunch of various meetups and so on across the States, that they won 1 Bitcoin, and they turned that 1 Bitcoin into circular economy initiative. So of course, they're getting ready to have their third annual sound money soiree, if you will. They're getting ready to hang out and have a nice little dinner and all this stuff and meet up. And of course, these are Bitcoiners and connecting and so forth. But what I just think is just really cool is because a lot of times I highlight these circular economies and all these things that are happening, and it happens to be in the developing world. But this right here is in Tampa. Tampa is, of course, in Florida, and this is a meetup. As you can see, this is the calendar that I'm scrolling right here, various events they have coming up. They're quite active and engaging various groups. My scroll went there. Engaging various groups there across Florida and connecting one another. I think it's just really cool and really great. But once again, a really cool website. I love the stuff that these groups are doing. So if you don't have a local meetup in your community, you don't have a local group a circular economy, I guess you would say, club or whatever it might be, well, guess what? You can actually get involved and start your own. Just look at some of these. Just go on X, if you will, and you can just type in circular economy groups, circular economy clubs, Bitcoin circular economy foundations, whatever word you'll use, and you'll start to pop up a few of these. And once you find one, you'll find a whole bunch of them because they all follow each other. They interact with each other. So it doesn't matter if they're in Tampa here. Doesn't matter if they are in Miami. There's some. Doesn't matter if they're in the DR, Jamaica, Kenya, Nigeria, multiple ones in South Africa, Cape Town, Johannesburg, all over the place. You can find something local. And if not local, you just reach out to them. They're more than happy to help you and get one started in your local community. And I think it's just really cool. I've had many conversations with many of them, and I just really appreciate everything that they're doing. So that's just really cool right there. Again, this is stateside. So amazing things. Their website right here is bitcoinbay.foundation. You can find them on X2 as well. Just look Bitcoin Bay. Funny thing about Bitcoin Bay, I actually want to start a club called Bitcoin Bay because where I am is a Bay town. And I was like, oh, that sounds good. And when I typed in Bitcoin Bay, I found them. And obviously I was like, oh man, the name's already taken. And that's how I stumbled on them, saw the amazing things that they're doing. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Well, let me highlight them. This is pretty cool what they're doing. So congratulations to you guys there in Tampa. You've been doing this much longer than many of us. So really appreciate that. And of course, they have connections within the community and so on. So the next story that I kind of want to cover, which is, in my opinion, very interesting, is the fact that there is the Women of Bitcoin Summit that's coming up right now. And right here, you can see that all the information, this is for March 4th and 5th, 2026. I was on a space late night the other night and heard them speaking about this. So it's really interesting because quite a few of the speakers that will be on there have been on streams here on Wolf Bitcoin and so on. But it's just really interesting, such as Natalie Brunell, and Susie, Violet Ward, a few others that I can think of off the top of my head. I'm running a blank now. Of course, when the camera's rolling and I'm live, the names start to slip my head. But as you can see here, they're organizing panels of various women to speak about Bitcoin topics and so on, to educate people. And of course, there's the opportunity to get miners and what have you get involved with all of that. So from not just from a chart standpoint, but also from an educational standpoint and mining, just holistically looking at all sorts of different things. There's so many conversations, so many different directions. And one thing that I will say for sure, from experience, being in certain rooms, whether it be with Bitcoin circles or tech circles in general, AI, whatever it might be, women tend to like to be around other women that are in that topic. Now, it's great. It doesn't really matter if you're a man or a woman, if you're interested in the topic. Okay, cool. But certain things, especially when guys start to, puff out their chest and compete with one another and want to show off who knows more, who has the most Bitcoin, it could be a contest of egos, if you will. I'll just put it that way. And so it's just cool certain times where, women can get together, speak about all these different things. Of course, Senator Cynthia Loomis and Lynn Alden, who wrote a book that is actually really, really good. Actually, Natalie Brunell, too. I haven't read Natalie's book. But anyways, so we have authors, we have public speakers, we have people that are involved in different levels of Bitcoin, and they're coming together. Of course, there's different partners that they're working with. And wow, I didn't even realize this. Here we go. The Tampa group that I just covered happens to be also one of the sponsors of this event. So I did not know that. I found that out live here on the stream. But check that out. The Women of Bitcoin Summit that is coming up. Lots of amazing things that are happening there. I just think it's really cool. Let me try to show you some of these people. Cynthia Long, Isabella Santos. Now, I've highlighted her quite a bit. Various things that she's doing with the Isla de Mujer. I always butcher how I pronounce that in Spanish, but I love the women, if you will, off of Cancun, Central America, getting a circular Bitcoin economy going there. So there's a lot of well-connected, very involved people. There is Susie Violet Ward. We had a live stream with her too. Really cool, amazing stuff that's happening over in UK. So if you're interested in UK policy or just in general, anything to do with navigating Bitcoin within the world of policymaking, great person to speak with, and very open, easy to reach out to and contact a lot of these people on X too as well. But yeah, just a really great lineup. There's a lot of them, and just check that out. This is womenofbitcoin.io. And yeah, I think it would be really, really great. Of course, you can register for the event and so on. Just check out all the amazing things. So hopefully you find someone, something, or if not, Lisa Howe. She's done a lot of spaces with us, the Wolf Bitcoin crew as well. So some of these people you will be familiar with, others you will not be if you have been in the Wolf Bitcoin ecosystem and checking out all the amazing things that's happening. And man, my mouse is just jumping around like crazy. But yeah, there's a lot of women that are in this. And so whether you have a sister, a mother, an aunt, or even you could just maybe just be interested in this, want to tune in, whether you're a guy or you are a woman, it doesn't really matter. The technology is the same. The conversations are the same. Again, it's just some people will find it a little bit more comforting to hear from other women and so on. And I think this is a really, really great initiative to highlight and put out there. So that brings us to not just the adoption of everything, but of course, we're talking about circular economies. So, as I always say, near and dear to my heart, circular economies, that's like my thing. That's my jam. I love the idea of jump starting circular economies and getting things going. And one of the things that I found really interesting that I stumbled upon lately is the Bitcoin Lightning Challenge. So let me pull this up and then give you a little background as to what the Bitcoin Lightning Challenge is. Right here, the Bitcoin Lightning Challenge is a 30-day unbanked challenge. So you don't know what that is. By the way, this is, if you just type in the Bitcoin Lightning Challenge, you can pull this up. It's a long link. It's on a Substack, but it is the Bitcoin Lightning Challenge, 30 days of being unbanked, trying to survive, if you will, on purely Bitcoin. Now, I often say that a lot of times I'm on spaces, a lot of people are triggered by the fact that you are spending Bitcoin. You can't do that. Well, I've met a lot of people that live entirely on Bitcoin. Their businesses, the income that they generate is Bitcoin. Therefore, in order to buy food, to live and everything, guess what they have to do? They have to spend that Bitcoin. It's easier when you're working a day job and you are paid in fiat to say, never spend your Bitcoin. I get it, right? Spend the weaker currency first. It doesn't matter if you are talking about fiat in another country where inflation is going crazy, devaluation, all those things is going rampant. Like you get paid in a local currency, you're going to switch out for a stronger currency, whether it is US dollar, it is the pound, the Swiss franc, whatever it might be. Local people know that when they're in environments where their local currency is devaluing and just hyperinflation, they know to switch out to the stronger currency. However, if someone is being entirely paid in the stronger currency, so think of someone who is living in a hyperinflation place, but they're working for an American company. They're making US dollars. So when they go to the grocery store in their local region, they're going to spend US dollars, right? So some people might say, why are you spending your US dollars? Why not spend out your Venezuelan, what is it, pesos, your Zimbabwe, I think they have dollars, whatever it is, right? Why would you not spend that one first? It's because that individual is making foreign currency, right? So when they go to make their day-to-day purchases, they will do that anyways. But anyways, my point being, why am I going to all of this is there's lots of people that they make their money in Bitcoin. Therefore, when they go to buy their gas, their food, their so on, they go and buy it. But not only that, if you want to start circular economies, supporting local economies and getting other Bitcoiners in, the best way to do that is to show them that they have value. This translates into food, into whatever else. So to show them that. But anyways, this Bitcoin challenge is living entirely on Bitcoin. So depending where you are, this might sound absolutely foreign. Now, to my counterparts and my friends that are in Africa and Latin America, this might be normal. This is like every day. This is something that is not special. But if you're in North America, it might seem so foreign to you. But what the challenge is trying to go 30 days just spending Bitcoin on Lightning, of course, and not spending any fiat whatsoever. So if you want more information on that, check that out. No fiat, of course, and you're spending Lightning. And there's lots of amazing ways to do that. Cash App, and all the amazing things that Jack Dorsey is rolling out there is just enabling people in the US to do this more and more. There's maps that show businesses that accept this. So you can find places that you can travel to. You can find places that you can buy food from and so on. But I just find this very interesting that this particular one is really highlighting circular economies from an American standpoint. And I think it's worth highlighting. So search the Bitcoin Lightning Challenge, 30 days of unbanked challenge. And that's what that's all about. Not spending your debit card, your credit card, your US dollars or whatever. You're spending Lightning, or you're spending Lightning. You're spending Bitcoin on Lightning. And I think that's just really cool, really worth highlighting. So search that, the Lightning Challenge. And I personally am excited to see where that goes. And if you do partake in that, I'd love to hear how things go from that perspective. Yeah, definitely. Redman. Yeah, definitely something to check out. It is very cool stuff that's going on there. But let's talk about it then. Let's start talking about Lightning transactions and all these amazing things. So those of you that don't know, we're over $1 billion a month now in Lightning transactions. A lot is going on Lightning. And the funny thing is, I think the number is way higher than what's reported because it's very hard to actually track the data and statistics from all these different independent nodes all over the place. So there's a lot of guessing, seeing where things are overlapping, are funds being sent from this node to that node because they're in different pockets and so on. So there's a lot of guessing game. So I think that $1 billion per month is actually a much, much bigger number because the videos that I constantly see in Africa where people, and again, these are mostly small transactions under $200, I think is where the average is about now, just around $200. So this is not like people moving generational wealth on Lightning. No, these are people that are just spending it as money, as it was designed to do. So really cool things that are interesting right there. But what I will say, since we're talking about money, let's take a look at this right here. This is the global money. Bitcoin now accounts for 1.2% of global money. This is a report from River. So just take a look at this right here. 47.6, call it $48 trillion worth of value is locked in yuans. So half of that US dollars, 22-ish trillion US dollars. Then you have euros at about 18 trillion. You have yen at 8 trillion. You have other currencies, so other just international fiat dollars or fiat money. Could be francs, could be whatever. About 15 trillion of that. And then the British pound, of course. So the top three or top four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 would be the Chinese yuan, the US dollar, the euro, the Japanese yen, and the British pound. Then everything else is 15 trillion. Now, what's really interesting is gold is at 31 trillion. And then up here, a wee little touch, 1.8 trillion is Bitcoin. So a lot of room to grow. So when people start talking about where this is going and how this could be X trillion dollars or whatever amount, it's not crazy in the grand scheme of things, but it is still a win worth highlighting that we're over 1%, 1.2% of all global money is Bitcoin. So really interesting stuff right there. I think that's worth highlighting. Really great report. It's a 44-page report here, actually, done by River. And I think they have some really cool things in there. But a few things that I want to highlight. Let me jump up to page 26. I think since we're talking about North America, a lot of the Wolf audience, a lot of you guys are in North America. So I think it's worth highlighting what's happening here in North America. Let me see if I can zoom in just a touch. Is that too much? Nope, that's good. Perfect right there. So what's happening here in North America? The merchant adoption. Now, again, it's hard to track this stuff with Lightning because I think Africa should be lit up a lot more than that. But River, of course, focusing on specific regions. The adoption in North America really surprised me because a lot of the times we like to think that North Americans, particularly Americans, do not spend their Bitcoin because they are locking generational wealth and so on. But the merchant adoption is exploding, 192% up in 2025. So 4,299, call it 4,300 merchants were added to the network. So over 6,500 North American merchants accept Bitcoin as payment. You have 6,700. So Europe is definitely leading North America, but 6,745 in Europe. You have South Americans at 5,000 plus, 2,000 plus in Africa. Again, I think that number is actually much higher than what's reported, but it just depends on where the data could be allocated and so on. But like I said, if you go and type in circular economies into X and start to look around, most likely you're going to see videos from Africa. So that is definitely exploding over the continent, especially in the southern part of Africa. But really interesting stuff that's there. Asia 1300 and Oceania is 362. A little bit outdated. This is the end of 2025. This data was gathered, but I just found it very shocking that it is growing fast in North America. So there's a lot of people that think that no one should and would spend their money. But check this out, some more data, business adoption of River or on River. Excuse me. Once again, it's a little hard to get the little scrolling mouse lining this up here. Business adoption, of course, we have real estate. You have the various sectors. So top right here is real estate, Bitcoin mining services, consulting, software. Then you have services and hospitality, healthcare, nonprofit, construction. By the way, nonprofit, really cool stuff. There's lots of charities that if you just type in Giving Block, you can see charities that accept Bitcoin as donations. So that's really cool stuff there. But nonprofits, constructions, you have consumer products, finance, energy, transportation, agriculture, and industrial and legal. So yes, you can pay your lawyer, and I wonder if CPAs are also included in that too with Bitcoin. And many of them do accept Bitcoin. So there's definitely a growing constituents, if you will, of businesses that accept Bitcoin, and I think that's absolutely amazing. I think that is worth highlighting, and just some really cool stuff there on that regard. So definitely check that out. That is something worth highlighting and sharing with you. But then also another thing that I find very interesting. Now, this might rub people the wrong way, depending how you want to look at this, but I will tell you why I'm going to share this within this slot and highlight the fact that why I think this is a positive story and not something to ruffle feathers, if you will. But 60% of the large banks in the US are developing Bitcoin products. And I know, yes, isn't this whole system to keep those people out? And it's an alternative system to the beautiful thing about Bitcoin is you can choose, right? You don't have to ever get involved with the banks, the banking system, TradFi and all that stuff. These ETF and these various products and Bitcoin lending and yields and all this stuff. You don't have to get involved in that. You can just get your wallet, lock down your sats, call it a day, and never look at them. So when things explode on that side from the consumer front, people are getting into that. If things go wrong, it doesn't matter to you because your sats are protected, right? So has nothing to do with them. So the reason why I want to highlight this though as a positive story and bring it into this feed is because I think it is quite interesting that 60% of those large banks. Now, I remember, which is like literally just 2 years ago, when lots of banks were just so adamantly against Bitcoin and this technology and what was going on here and advising their clients to stay away from it. But if you look now, most financial advisors are talking anywhere between 1% and 5%. The conservative ones, of course, the TradFi ones are talking about getting into Bitcoin as an investment. And what's really interesting is the demand is there from the consumers. And if you aren't putting out that product, guess what? Those consumers are going to go to the competitors. So the big banks feel that pressure from one another. Competition, of course, free markets sets in. And the reason why I think this is really great and worth adopting or highlighting is because as adoption spreads through these means, because people are going to be more in contact with their bank than they are going to be in contact with random Bitcoiners on X or YouTube or wherever else. So I find it very interesting that these products are going to be launched, starts that conversation. People are going to go sent down the rabbit hole. They start researching, maybe talking to their AI, their favorite chat agent, whether it's ChatGPT, Google, Gemini, Perplexity, Claude, whatever. I don't care where they go. They have that conversation started. They start to research into Bitcoin. And then I truly believe as you explore blockchain technologies, you explore money, do your research, all of those things, you're going to land on Bitcoin. And if you understand it, you're going to be a Bitcoiner. So all roads lead to Bitcoin. I think it's just really great that people are going that route and just really cool stuff there. Covering a lot of stories today, but going back to the tech side now. So, again, we like to highlight the positive feel-good stories, some things that are head scratchers, if you will, like what people are being paid sats to pick up garbage, all that stuff. We like to talk about circular economies and local economies using Bitcoin, local merchants and small businesses and so forth. But also we like to talk about the tech because the tech is really what's spreading adoption and really shows the full picture, because without the tech, of course, then the sound money wouldn't even exist and so on. But what I find very interesting, I'm going to share this right here, is because there's a lot of talks right now of we're in a bear market and so on. But check out this stat, or this chart, I should say. These two charts are nothing but bullish. So nodes are climbing. So if you look at 2016, 5,000 nodes, and look over here, you can just see it is going up. 24,700 is where we're at right now, and going up. Again, this data was compiled before this report was actually put out, obviously. But yeah, we're seeing growth, like growth going with the nodes. And the nodes, a lot of times we like to talk about the miners and getting your rewards and so on. But one of the easiest ways that you can participate within the network for as little as, a few $100, you can get like a system that's already set up. You can go much cheaper than that if you're willing to do a little building, but you can run a full node and participating in the network. And in case you're not familiar, the full node is the entire copy of the blockchain itself. And as these transactions are being added, of course, the data itself is getting bigger. But as long as nodes are online, Bitcoin works, because all the data, all the transactions, the UTXOs, or sorry, not to use like all these acronyms and stuff, but like the balances of all the wallets are there and available. So there's always that thing like, oh, well, what if the internet goes down? Well, if the internet goes down, okay, cool, worldwide, not just the internet going down, but every single person that has a node would also have to have that machine destroyed. So when they talk about nuclear war, solar flares, and all of those things, well, usually it would be a solar flare. It would be affect the side of the globe that's facing the sun when a solar flare happens. But this gets really nerdy and all these things. But people love to throw out all these things like alien attacks and so on. Well, these aliens or whoever it is would have to destroy every single copy of the network. And what's interesting is node operators, for very little, can get involved. They can have a copy of it, full copy. You can get partial copies, but a full node operator. But anyways, 25,000 people around the world have that. And also network hash rate, of course, that is security, and how many miners are on the network and so on. You see a little dip towards the end right here. And of course, various things such as like storms will have miners go offline, the price of Bitcoin, selling, upgrading, shifting focus to AI. So there is a little bit of a dip right here. But if you zoom out, I mean, this chart right here just looks completely bullish. Like, look at that. More are coming on, both as nodes and as miners. So I just want to highlight that really quick, a little bit more technical than I usually go on the stream. But I just want to share with you that, yeah, if you're looking at the fact that, oh man, charts are down and whatever else, is Bitcoin going away? Are we in a bear market? Is adoption not happening anymore? Whatever happened to mass adoption and everyone coming into the space? Maybe you're looking at the wrong place. So hopefully we highlighting some of this stuff. I highly recommend that you'd check out this river report. Maybe I'll do a separate stream just going through all 44 pages of this river report, which I found very, very interesting. I just pulled out the parts that I find are relevant to that. But look it up, River Bitcoin Adoption Report. Just really, really good. This is river.com/river hyphen Bitcoin hyphen adoption report. So it's all up there right there. So I'll share that with you if you're interested in checking that out. But all over the place, but really, really exciting stuff that's happening within the ecosystem. But lastly, I do want to say we did have a giveaway that was going that, unfortunately, due to the technical difficulties here on X and the comments and all that stuff, is definitely an issue. But these cards, I was giving away a deck of cards, excuse me. And I made a huge mistake. And I said, well, obviously this is not this is not gold, real gold. But guess what? I found out that it is. It's gold foil, but it is 24 karat. Can't really see that there. 24 karat gold foil certificate of authenticity. Now, I mean, yeah, gold foil, whatever. But I just think it is a cool talking piece. And if you're interested in that sort of thing, how I was giving that away. And it also, in addition to that, it also comes with this cool little Bitcoin, if you will, gold foil plated Bitcoin. Obviously, Bitcoin is digital, but yes, this is a physical representation of a Bitcoin. And if you wanted to win that to be entered into it, all you had to do was look at that video posted of the graphic interface of what it would have been that Lightning wallet that Cash App was playing with to on the stream from last week. Excuse me. Just look on the stream the end of last week and just let us know. Comment. Let us know. Would you use that? But those of you that missed that stream, you again technical difficulties with X and so forth. What I will do is simply ask you in addition. So the two ways to enter: go on the last stream and tell us, would you use that? Or since you're on this stream, just let us know what from this report, what of these numbers was the most interesting part to you. And just by doing that, commenting on this, you will be entered into the giveaway. And that's it. I'll just put it on a wheel next week when I'm live, put all of those names of the people that commented and participated, and we'll do that drawing. So it has been really fun. Spent the last hour talking about all these amazing things. So those of you that are just tuning in, by the way, every single Saturday at 7 p.m., I hop on and give these amazing positive stories that's happening in the Bitcoin ecosystems, positive stories, positive stats, if you will, sats, positive sats, not stats, but sats. Then we have circular economies that we like to highlight. And of course, the tech that's spreading worldwide adoption. And I really want to thank you for spending this time with us. Those are fire. Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Cade. So yeah, anyone that's interested in that, I definitely, I love shiny things too, myself included. It's just really great conversation pieces, and I'm a sucker for conversation pieces. Just whip these things out. I was like, hey, what's that? What is going on there? It's like, yeah, man, these are Bitcoin. It's like, what? I heard about this thing called Bitcoin. Here we go. Now we're having the conversation. So really cool stuff there. Node operator news. Yeah, that is some interesting stuff right there. And just by commenting, you have been entered, my friend. So you tune in next week, Redman, and we can possibly see that you're the winner. So anyone during the next week, just comment all the things that you found interesting from the stream. Love to hear from you guys. But as usual, we have so much content going out from the Wolf Bitcoin crew. Lots of spaces. Those of you that are on X, we have live streams going out. If you're into TA, looking at charts, all those amazing things, content literally every single day of the week. Even tomorrow, we have content going out. So Sunday, Saturday, Monday, every day is a Bitcoin day in our world. And I want to thank you for spending this last, 40 minutes or so with us as we're highlighting all these positive stories. So we're looking forward to all the amazing things. And most importantly, if there's anything that you find exciting that you think we should highlight and get out to the rest of the community and share some positive points, just send us a DM. We're always open to stories. Get excited. We'll highlight your story on the stream. So have a wonderful weekend. Hopefully everything has been great. Those of you that have tuned in, it has been fun. My name's Taj. I will see you guys later.